Hi there guys, welcome to another review. So today we've got the Spire Tyrants. So we're going to build these up in a second and then we'll take a look at the models, then we'll look at all the stats and abilities. So if you're tuning in just for this, I've just reviewed the Soul Drain Forest Terrain and as well as the Ogroid Myrmidon, and I'll be reviewing the Gloomspite Gits, Nighthaunt and Stormcast Eternals warbands in the next few days, as well as all of the card packs that came out. And I'll also be reviewing all of the card packs that come out in another 2 weeks' time, along with the Formwoid Crusher and the other Warcry content that comes out then. But let's make these up and then we'll take a look. Right, so let's take a look. We'll start with the fighters. We'll go with the Beastigore Destroyer. So he rocks. Very, very cool model. That's nice. So in terms of his card, what has he got? So 4 movement, 18 wounds, toughness 4, so that's pretty good. Range of 1, only 2 hits. But he's got strength 5, which is good, and heavy damage on those hits as well, 3s and 6s, so that's good. Plus, if you're willing to kind of take the risk of the fewer number of potential hits with the damage, cost wise he's not too terrible either, so 145, so that's pretty good. Next we'll take a look at the Pit Champion. Is 180 points, again movement 4 and toughness 4, 20 wounds this time. And then 2 options on the combat. So up close, 4 attacks, strength 5, 2 and 5 damage, which I like. And then with the range one, so 3-inch range, 3 attacks, strength 4, 1 and 3. So that's good. 180 points for that. So pretty good. So let's take a better look at the model. For the Pit Champion. Okay, so Frenzied Rager, a little Chaos Dwarf buddy. It was a pretty cool little model. What does he do? So he just got the 3 movement. It's a pretty cheap unit, 95 points. 4 attacks, strength 4, which ain't bad. 1 and 4 on the damage. So that's pretty good. We'll look at the abilities in a second. Okay, now we've got Pit Veterans with Shield. Now we could have had 3 of these, but I've elected to go for 2, and I'll have a look at the other options in a minute. Very nice. Here's the other one. Very cool. Okay, so movement of 4. Toughness 5, only 10 wounds, 2s and 4s on the damage on 2 attacks. So not one of the kind of alpha players at all. So speaking of the last alpha player that we've got, so we've got a Head Claimer. And I think this is probably my favourite model of the bunch for the Spire Tyrants. Okay, so what has he got? So he's only got 15 wounds, movement 4 and toughness 4. 1-inch range, 3 hits, 5 strength, that's very good. 2 and 5 on the damage. So that's good. This is definitely my favourite model. Okay, so then we've got... So this model could have been one of the Veterans with Shield, but I decided to go instead for a Pit Veteran with dual weapons. Which is nice. And she, again, only 10 wounds, 4 movement, 4 toughness, 3 strength, 3 attacks on 2s and 4s. So good while still alive. And then the final model, but not the final card, is a pit fighter with spear. Which is pretty cool. Okay, and so again, one of the cheaper units, but we've got movement 4, toughness just 3, 10 wounds, 2-inch range, 3 attacks, dealing 1 and 4, but only a strength of 3 as well. So I could have had that model, or I could have made this one, which is a pit fighter with punch dagger. And the main difference between those two is just 1-inch range, 4 hits instead of 3, and then 1 and 3 for the damage instead of 1 and 4. Other than that, they're the same cost and everything. So that's it. Let's have a look at our abilities. So on a double, and any of these guys can do it. So if they take down an enemy by an attack action made in this activation, this fighter can make a bonus move action or a bonus attack action. So good for if you're in heavy combat. Okay, so the gladiator's net. Ah, I missed the card. Sorry about that. Sorry, pit fighter with net. Let's have a quick look at him before we move on. Very cool. Nice. Okay, and his stats are, again, one of the weaker ones with 10 wounds. Movement 4, toughness 3, strength 3. 3 attacks on 1 and 3. But he gets this ability, so the gladiator's net. And he's the only member of this team that gets it. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inches and roll 1 dice. On a 3-up, that fighter cannot make move actions or disengage in the battle round. Okay, then we've got, for a double, we've got a shield ram, and that can be utilised by only our pit fighters with shield. Till the end of this fighter's activation, the next time this fighter finishes a move action, pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll 1 dice. On a 4 to 5, allocate 1 damage. On a 6, allocate the damage points to the fighter equal to the value of this ability. So that's very good. Okay, then we've got, for a triple, readied stance. And that can be used by our pit fighters with shields. Our little dwarf dude. And our pit fighter with dual weapons. Until the end of the battle round, add half the value of this ability, rounding up to the toughness characteristic. Then we've got another triple, which is Champion of the War Pits. And that is held exclusively for our pit champion. A fighter can use this ability only if an enemy fighter has been taken down by them this activation. Till the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of actions made by visible enemy fighters within 6 inches of this fighter. So this could effectively, you know, if you've got them all grouped within 6 inches of this guy, they all get an extra attack when within 6 inches. So that's good. And then finally, we've got our quad, which is Brutal Strike, and that can be used by the Beastigore Destroyer or the Head Claimer. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll 1 dice. On a 3 to 4, allocate the number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So that's good. And then on a 5 to 6, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to double the value of this ability. Wow. So on a 5 or 6, you could deal 12 damage in 1 hit. So that's cool. So that's pretty good. I broadly like the Spire Tyrants. I think they've got decent abilities between them. The models themselves are great. I really like them, especially the 3 kind of big ones: the Head Claimer, the Pit Champion, and the Beastigore Destroyer. Those are real standout models. I like them a lot. especially the head claimer, very corn-like. So yeah, I like the warband. I think it's good. I think the vanilla players, with the ones that have only got 10 wounds, I think they're good enough with their abilities. I think they've got a good mix in there. So yeah, I think it's a decent warband. So that's what I think of them. Next up, I will be looking at Gloomspite Gits box. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think of the Spire Tyrants in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. Stick with me for the rest of the Warcry reviews that I'll be bringing out over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.